5 years, 2 months and 5 days. That's how long I prepared for UPSC. From moving to Delhi to giving up multiple attempts over the year, I have spent my crucial year to crack one exam. But still, I just couldn't make it. I started my UPSC journey in June 2019, fueled by dreams and determination. But by August 2024, I made the hardest decision of my life to quit. I wanted to talk about this because this isn't just my story. This is the story of ambition, struggle, failure, of lakhs of Indians like me who dare to dream big. During this journey, something went right, but a lot more went wrong. I made a few good friends, but I also spent countless nights struggling, confused, doubting my own abilities. But before I go into all of that, let me share a story with you. I still remember that day very clearly. We were all sitting together having a lunch. It was a normal day, nothing was unusual. My father, as always, was talking about life, career and future goals. And then he looked at my sister and said, "You should attempt the UPSC exam. It is the most prestigious job in this country." At that moment, something clicked inside me. That's when I decided I will become an IAS officer. That wasn't just a thought, it became an obsession. I remember that night, I picked up my diary and wrote that my future goal is to become an IAS officer. Since childhood, I was always a hardworking student. Not the most brilliant one, but I had something which really mattered. That is discipline and determination. I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to prove my existence, to be recognized in the society. At that moment, I made the decision that I am going to become an IAS officer. I started my UPSC journey with full enthusiasm and dedication, just like we all do. Like जब भी हम लोग कुछ नया start करते हैं तो with full energy. Same situation was with me. So I was like very excited and at the same time determined that I am going to crack this exam in a very first attempt. So this was my thought process at that time. And I know अभी भी काफ़ी सारे लोग ऐसा सोचते हैं, जो भी new aspirants होते हैं, they thought कि we have to clear in a very first attempt. So the same thing was with me at that time. So without a second doubt, I directly jumped into the foundational course of the institution, but it was a regional branch, which was one of the biggest mistake. So after taking the institution, I was taking the classes regularly, I was making the notes, I was reading them. So all things were going like this and I was just reading. So gradually I have realized my mistakes, but the time by which I did, it was already too late. So I have already exhausted 4 attempts to realize my mistakes. So what actually went wrong? So the very first mistake is I was very much relied on the class notes rather than focusing upon building my foundation by reading the NCERTs. So I have neglected NCERTs and I was very much into reading the notes. Second mistake was I wasn't studying deeply. I was not having a concept clarity. I was just reading superficially and the concept clarity which is required especially for the UPSC examination, which was not there. However, this was the role of coaching. Unfortunately, they failed to provide that concept clarity. Anyways, I don't want to blame anyone, so let it be. So the third mistake was I wasn't revising the way I should have. I was just consuming a lot of information but was not able to retain them. And by the time I understand all of this, I had already lost a precious time. Now if I talk about my daily routine, honestly it was mundane, repetitive as well as isolating. The whole day revolved around studying. Padhai. The situation was like, if I am going to waste my time while eating, I will surely going to fall behind the competition. At first I had a friend circle, but slowly I started cutting myself off. Eventually it was me, my books and my thoughts. And if I talk about social media, that doesn't exist for me. No Instagram, no distraction. But what was my biggest struggle? So after my first attempt, I have developed a severe sleep anxiety. I was not able to sleep properly in the night, especially the night before my examination. I was not able to have a peaceful sleep, and this took a huge toll over my performance the next day. I was mentally breakdown while also struggling with the physical struggles, like I was overweight, I was not able to take care of my health because of the study routine. So all this was the situation or the struggle which I have faced during the preparation. But no matter how hard things got, I have never thought about quitting, not until August 2024. That's when everything changed. For years, I was so dedicated towards UPSC that I never considered giving other exams other than UPSC or civil service examination. UPSC civil services was my only goal. But after facing back-to-back failures, I have realized that I need to expand my options. That's when I came across CAPF AC examination, which is also being conducted by UPSC only. I gave the exam, cleared the written, passed the physical test, and finally I made it to the UPSC interview hall. It was a dream come true. But once again, I failed. I was married out, and at that time, I was so hopeless, directionless, doubting myself. I was not having any idea what to do now because I was very much optimistic about the result, but unfortunately, I was married out. And then everything around me started falling apart. So in old Rajdhanagar, where I was preparing, series of horrifying incidents started happening. Starting with the electrocution of one of the aspirant, then the suicidal case just nearby my rental house, and the trigger point was the death of the 3 aspirants in the basement of one of the coaching institute. And the situation in old Rajdhanagar was so horrifying, negative, that we can't even think about studying there. And in that moment, I made 2 decisions. I decided to leave that place, and with that, I also decided to leave the preparation behind. After coming back to my home, I was so confused. Should I quit? Should I take a break? Or should I keep fighting? But deep inside, I knew that I had already made the decision to quit. So what's next? To be honest, I'm still figuring it out. I am doing my master's in biomedical studies. At the same time, I'm learning some skills. Mentally, I feel better now. There are some days, there are some up and downs, but I managed to be calm at that situation. But one thing is very clear, I have not wasted all these years. Every failure has shaped me to become a more mature person. So, in the end, starting this preparation was a good decision, and leaving it is equally important one. Life doesn't always go as planned. Sometimes quitting isn't failure, sometimes it's the beginning of something new. So, tell me, have you ever faced a situation where you have to quit something to start something new? If yes, then please let me know in the comment section. And if you find this video relatable, consider subscribing. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.